Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town Council regular session for June 18th, 2025. It is 7:01 p.m. We will begin, as always, with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councillor White, if you could lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councillor White, thank you very much. All right, and roll call. All councillors are present and accounted for. Thank you so much, councillors. Before we get started, at this time I would accept a motion to permanently seal the minutes from this evening's non-public session under RSA 91A:3, Section 2A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee or the disciplining of such employee.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor White. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. If you could call the roll, please.
Councillor Placefer?
Aye.
Councillor Lamattina?
Aye.
Councillor Dornblue?
Aye.
Councillor White?
Aye.
Councillor Blackstone?
Aye.
Councillor Ward?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. All right. And the next item on our agenda is public forum. And so there's two different things. There's a public forum, which is an open forum for anyone who wishes to speak on anything, and then there is a public hearing that will immediately precede that on the proposed amendments to the Chapter 32 zoning. So just wanted to make sure those were both in folks' heads and separate. And so at this time, I will open public forum. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak this evening? And just a brief reminder that we do have a 3-minute limit on comment.
Madam Chair, could you hold on 1 minute? We don't have a microphone for the...
I can. I can hold on for 5.
Hey, there's no microphone for the public. We need one up here. Thank you. Sorry about that.
I feel like we should be playing like the Jeopardy music right now.
You want to just take mine and just...
Yeah, I was going to say, they can use mine if anybody wants to talk.
We can do that, yeah.
Can we do that? Okay. Thank you, Councillor Lamattina. All right, let's try again. Is there any from the public who wishes to speak this evening? Seeing none, then I will go ahead and close public forum at 7:04. All right, the next item on the agenda is the public hearing, and this is the public hearing on Ordinance 2024-2025-1, and that is proposed amendments to the Chapter 32 zoning. And is there anything
I would ask
to
the
open this
Community
up?
Development Director to
Thank
just give
you.
an overview before the public comments.
Awesome.
We need a...
Do we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? So these are the ones that belong up here. They're just not spaced out the right way, it looks
Well,
like.
we need one for the public, and so Councillor Lamattina put his there. So Councillor Lamattina is now without one. Yeah?
I put ours between us.
We can,
Okay.
We'll
We'll grab an additional mic.
Yeah, we'll be good. Thank you.
Yep.
Good evening, councillors. My name is Bart McDonough. I'm the Planning and Community Development Director. Before you this evening is proposed amendments to Chapter 32. The purpose for these amendments is to extend the village center's built environment by creating zoning standards that mirror existing development patterns within the village. To add more commercial and residential opportunities in order to create a more vibrant village. And further, to improve the tax base and ensure better utilization of a finite amount of land by allowing for more value and to be added to it through infill development. So that's why we're doing this today. And the history of this, what led up to this, is kind of started back in 2016 through the master plan update. It identified Route 108 corridor as an area to look for infill development that matches the character of town. This was further confirmed by a gateway study done in 2020 that identified 3 main areas of town, one of them being the North Gateway, which is along Route 108 North Main Street along the Durham line. And around that time, a couple years later, as we're going through COVID, there was opportunities afforded by the state to allow municipalities to amend their zoning in order to create more housing opportunities. That was through the Invest New Hampshire grant program. And Newmarket was awarded $125,000 to update its housing chapter of the master plan, and also to look at some zoning reforms opportunities within this North Gateway area. We utilized that money to, one, update our housing chapter. That's in draft form. You can find that on the town's website. And also to create zoning recommendations for this 108 North Main Street corridor. Through the process in developing those recommendations, there was extensive community outreach to reach out to property owners in order to understand what type of buildings or development were they comfortable with. And we did that through focus group exercises. And along with that, we did some visioning sessions throughout the town, master plan visioning sessions that further confirmed that those participants in those sessions found the opportunities within the downtown to include more infill development. They saw that area as a place where they would like to see more development because there was a balance between, or a desire to have a balance between open space preservation and development. And they identified that area along 108 as a great opportunity for development infill. And then through guidance from the planning board, the scope kind of expanded. Originally it was within the North Gateway area, then it went down 108 around the car wash on Exeter Road, and then some surrounding neighborhoods as well. The planning board decided just to focus on the 108 corridor and then address the other recommendations at a later point. So to the proposed changes, what it does is it dissolves the M1 and M2A zoning districts while changing some property zoning designations, and it creates a new zoning district called the Village Corridor District. This district has 3 distinct sub-districts, one called North, Center, South. The north being North Main Street, the center being Main Street, parts of South Main Street, Jerry Ave, and a segment of Elm Street, and Spring and Center Street, and Chapel. Further, it regulates the approach that this zoning change does is through a form-based code. And if people aren't familiar with form-based code prioritizes the physical form and character of a development over use base. So traditionally what Newmarket has and a lot of other communities has is a use-based zoning. It's called Euclidean zoning. And you're separating different types of uses in different zones. This really concentrates more on how the buildings interact, or the development in general interacts with the public realm, within the property and the public realm. In order to create a more vibrant places. And so proposed zoning attempts to continue, so what we heard through our visioning sessions and focus groups, continues the existing building pattern that you find on Main Street and extends it north and south. And then it prioritizes a better interaction between properties and the public right-of-way. And it creates a more vibrant, attempts to create more vibrant built environment, creates a sensible controls for larger developments through the special use permit process, which would be regulated by the planning board. Further, the proposed amendments clarify zoning definitions and syncs with other regulations and state statutes. It removes redundancies and amends references to reflect the zoning districts, and creates new sections specific to historic mill buildings where existing language from the zoning code is transposed into a new section. In summary, this process went through an extensive community outreach process. I'm pretty proud of that. In addition to that, the amendments are attempt to continue the development patterns that currently exist within the village area of town. And the proposed amendments concentrates infill development opportunities in the village where existing utilities and a high concentration of the town's businesses are located. And just one further thing, I'd just like to thank the residents who participated, the planning board who went through 8 months of vetting these regulations. And I want to thank you for your time for listening to me present these amendments to you. Thank you.
Well, if this isn't time for the council to question.
No. We'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, so at this time we will open public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on these proposed changes?
Val Shelton, 124 Cushing Road. I am currently the chair of the planning board as well. I just want to thank and recognize Bart for all the work that he has put into this over the past 8+ months. I think the only thing in is particularly relative to public input and property owner input into these regulations. I've stood before the council several years ago when we were trying to push the put through the M2A towards North Main Street as well, and that was not successful. So this is a result of trying to revisit that and really expand the success of the downtown to both north and south. And I think the only thing that I would add to Bart's comments tonight is there was also the focus on coming up with zoning to increase the tax base for the for Newmarket, as well as improving the existing tax base through revitalization. So again, I just want to recognize Bart for all the work that he did. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public who would like to speak? Okay. Seeing none, I will close this public hearing at 7:14. All right, moving right along. Item 6 is to Town Council to consider acceptance of the minutes, and we have 2 sets of minutes this evening. Councilors, the first is the June 4th, 2025 non-public meeting minutes, and at this time I would accept a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor White. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. These are non-public, so no discussion. If you could call the roll.
Council Glazeberg.
Aye.
Council Lamatina.
Aye.
Council Dornbluth.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Conley.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. And the second set of minutes is the June 4th, 2025 regular town council regular session. At this point, I would accept, this time I would accept a motion to approve those minutes.
I will make the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Drumblett. Any discussion or changes? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazeberg.
Aye.
Council Lamatina.
Aye.
Council Dornbluth.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Conley.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. Item 7 is to consider nominations, appointments, elections, and resignations. And we have 3 this evening, councilors. The first is Elizabeth Dudley, appointment to as an alternate member of the Conservation Commission with a term expiration of April 2026. And at this time, I'd accept a motion to approve that appointment.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Dornbluth. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. Any discussion? Is Ms. Dudley here this evening? Okay. Okay, I just appreciate the commitment to the to conservation and somebody's willingness to serve as an alternate. I think it's great that we're getting that level of public engagement in the community in the committees. Okay, seeing no other discussion, if you could call the roll.
Council Glazeberg.
Aye.
Council Lamatina.
Aye.
Council Dornbluth.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Conley.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right, and the next one is George Anderson, also an appointment as an alternate member to the Conservation Commission with a term expiration of April 2027. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve that appointment.
So moved.
Oh, Councilor Dornbluth, thank you. Do I have a second?
I will Second.
Thank you, Councillor Lamatina. Any discussion on Mr. Anderson's application? Councillor Lamatina.
Yeah, I know Mr. Anderson. I think he'll be a great member for the Conservation Commission.
Okay. Any other discussion? I know that Mr. Anderson's currently on the Energy and Environment Advisory Committee as well, and so I'm happy to support that, this application. Seeing no other comments, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Blaisberg.
Aye.
Council Lamatina.
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Conley.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. And our final item in this part of the agenda today is Ellen Reed's resignation from the Energy and Environment Committee. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve that resignation with
So moved.
regret. Thank you, Councillor White. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, Councillor Ward, I'll give you that one. Okay, it sounds like Ms. Reed has a fair number of conflicts, and so for that reason, she's stepping down. Is there any discussion? Councillor Lamatina.
That we accept her resignation with regret. I think a lot of you know Ellen. She's a kind of strong personality, but she has been a good member of the Energy and Environment Committee.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, thank you, Councillor Lamatina. Seeing none, if you can call the roll.
Council Blaisberg.
Aye.
Council Lamatina.
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Conley.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right. Moving right along at this time, item 8 is the report of the town manager, and so at this time I will turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just an update on the fiscal year 25 expense and revenue report. May completes 83% of the fiscal year. The operating budget is 86% expended, slightly higher than the previous fiscal year, but lower than anticipated. For the first time in a year, direct assistance is overexpended. Rental assistance continues to be higher than anticipated due to the housing crisis. Vehicle budget was also over due to the repair of a number of vehicles this year. Just happened to be one of those luck of the draw years. Revenues are not where we anticipated at the beginning of the fiscal year right now. Last year we collected over 100% of our current revenues by this time. Right now we're at 99%. This is due to the issuance of tax bills later because of issues. The next item on my report is that we did receive a notice from the Lamprey River Advisory Committee that they're pledging up to $100,000 of support to the Rosa Follett Brooks Conservation Project, which is protecting 40 acres across Newmarket and Durham. The land includes wetlands, forests, hayfields, and connects 133 acres of existing conservation land. The project supports water quality, habitat preservation, farmland, and recreation, includes long-term stewardship provisions. Not on my written report, well, it's an ongoing project, so I wanted to give an update on Senate Bill 297, which was the risk pools bill. The House and the Senate did not concur, so the bill dies. So well, it wasn't defeated, it's better that it died, so.
That's good.
And finally, just a reminder to the council that we have a goal-setting session next Wednesday, 25th at 6 p.m. Oh, and then for the general public, just to remember that we are closed, town offices are closed tomorrow in observance of Juneteenth.
Any questions or discussion on the report of the town manager?
Not at this point, no.
Okay. Any discussion or comments or questions around this month's department reports? Okay, Councillor Lamatina.
I did have a question on the department reports on the police statistics, and I did ask the town manager, I don't know if you want to update
Sure.
the council on
Let
that.
me find it, sorry. Councilor Martina was asking what the difference between there was a reduction in the number of calls this year over the previous year for police, and I asked the chief, and the decline in the numbers is due to the combination of factors, but the primary reason that we've been operating short-staffed for some time. Well, we've made progress in hiring. It takes time to fully train new employees. Currently, we have one new officer in the police academy, another just completed field training, and 2 more scheduled to begin in July. The additional factors are contributing to decline include reduced traffic stops, with fewer officers available, and a decrease in grant-funded traffic patrols have led to fewer stops. Fewer traffic accidents. This tends to vary seasonally. It can be influenced by weather and chance. And mental health calls. Some individuals have frequently responded to have either received the help they need or have relocated to other jurisdictions.
Any other questions or comments on the department reports? Okay. Seeing none, we will move right on to item 9, which is committee reports. Are there any committee reports this evening? Oh, Councilor Lamatino, thank you.
Energy and environment. So we've completed our energy master plan chapter, and that's currently being reviewed by the planning board. And the Energy and Environment Committee will be kicking off a recycling education campaign at the Backyard Bash August 1st, Friday.
Okay. Any other committee reports this evening? Councilor Dornbler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Transportation Committee met last week, and we continued our discussion in regards to the classification of town roads and what that means from a design perspective and from a functional perspective on our way to developing a complete streets policy for the town. We are also planning a site visit. We will announce that, I guess, when it's scheduled, but it'll likely be in July, to take a look at some issues in New Village and how the streetscape or how people interact with the streetscape there, sometimes going into a one-way that they shouldn't because of the way the street presents itself. And it'll be a great opportunity to see what kind of impact our work on road classification might have in a neighborhood.
Okay. Other committee reports? Councilor Wharton.
The 300th committee met on the 11th. The chair was unable to attend due to some issue, but let's see. We got our $500 back from the library mural that was voted down, so that won't be going forward. There's also a suggestion of folding in some of the rec center's ongoing planned kids events in 2027 with 300th events, so making some of the kids events, also like 300th at Newmarket themed, or there was supposed to be the Broadside Project tonight.
We couldn't attend.
Okay, never mind. All right, and then moving on, Conservation Commission met on the 12th. They voted to get the pay for some new signs for some turtles. Apparently there's a set of turtles that have been, a turtle that's been going to Lady Slipper Drive the last 20 years to lay eggs. Unfortunately, most of the little turtlings do not make it across the street, so we allocated $200 to buy some signs from DPW, put those up, so, save the baby turtles, please, everyone. We also, and this approved a $275 donation to the Camp Atlas at SELT for a student. And yes, and we also got a $100,000 from DPW for from the Rosa property project. And we also talked about there's an informal trail apparently between Riverbend Road and the school, and apparently some students are thinking about making it a project to make into like a formal path so people can walk from Riverbend directly to school rather than having to go down around the big cul-de-sac. And I believe that was it for me. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Ward. Any other committee reports or any discussion or questions? Okay. Seeing none, then we will move on to resolutions and ordinances in the second reading, and there are three. The first is Resolution 2024-2025-42, the water rate increase, and at this time, I would accept a motion to approve that resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Dornblatt. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you. And at this time, I will turn it over to you, sir.
Okay. As it says on my staff report, I went over the sewer first, and the sewer, I'm recommending no rate increases for the sewer, and that's due because of, we're doing well with the septage, which has offset a lot of the increases we've seen. We also have secured some SAG grants from the state, which is state aid grant for the wastewater treatment plant, which has also been used to help offset those increases. So the sewer will see no increase. The water, as everybody knows, we've done quite a bit of work on the water. And due to all that work, we have to pay these loans as they start to kick in. We're still working towards slowly getting to that point of having revenue meet expenses. I'm recommending a 50-cent increase for the water to go from 7.25 to 7.75. What does that mean? An average single-family home uses about 48 units of water. That's about a $24 increase on the average user. If you use less, then you're going to pay, it'll be a lesser increase. If you use more, it'll be more of an increase. But that puts it right around a penny a gallon.
Okay. Questions for Director Greek?
Yes.
Thank you. Does the water department offer any advice to Newmarket households on water savings measures that they might take in order to reduce their water consumption if they so choose?
We do put stuff up on our website.
Yeah.
At
So
times.
there's-
Yeah, there's stuff, and we also put up stuff on ways to track leaks and those kind of things.
Great.
So.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the director? Okay. Seeing none, any discussion on the resolution? Councillor Dornblatt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Based on the ongoing presentations and all the work that the Water Department has been doing, it certainly seems justified to increase the water rate, even though it may be unfortunate because it's an additional cost to households. But in order for us to stay ahead of any issues with our infrastructure, this seems to be a prudent way to go. So I support this resolution.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I'm never in favor of increasing rates if we don't have to, and I do appreciate I appreciate that we were able to keep the sewer rate sewer constant. So I appreciate your work on that. All right. Seeing no other discussion, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Christopher?
Aye.
Council Martina?
Aye.
Council Dornblatt?
Aye.
Council White?
No.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Boyd?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. The next resolution is Resolution 2024-2025-43, Police Cruiser Purchase. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve that resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Dornblatt. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. And I will turn it over to you, Chief Jordan.
Good evening. So this is a purchase of a new police cruiser. This is a very specific police cruiser. It's a little bit different from ones in the past. We traditionally buy what is a mid-size sport utility for our patrol vehicles. This particular one, we're looking to, it's a little bit bigger, and it's a different brand, and there's a few reasons for that. The reason for the bigger vehicle is we want to outfit this for the supervisors. The supervisors carry a lot more tools and utility items that we don't have in every police vehicle, including less lethal launchers, less lethal shotguns, breaching tools, specific medical kits. We just received a drone that we want to be able to have in this vehicle that will be out in the field. And the reason that we've decided to change brands or go in a different direction is we've had some significant issues with the Ford brand, and the vehicles that we currently have, we have 11 vehicles. We recently received a letter from Ford indicating that 5 of the vehicles were under recall, and they asked us to not drive them until they could get them fixed, and they said they couldn't tell us when they were going to get them fixed. So, it is tough. It's a little bit different when you're dealing with government vehicles. They don't feel like they have that customer relationship, I think, that they have with a person that walks in off the street and buys a car. But an example would be we have 2 2020 Ford Explorers that we got in 2020. 2 weeks ago, Ford showed up at our police station to fix a recall that was issued in 2020 on the seatbelts in those 2 Fords. So those are some of the troubles that we've been having with that particular brand. Most recently, we've been having trouble. I know the council has been very in tune with hybrids. We have a hybrid. We've started to experience significant trouble with that hybrid. Several times the car just died on us. We've had to bring it over to them and have them reprogram the battery unit. One of those times that cost us $1,200. They told us that it's likely going to go pretty soon, and the replacement for it is $8,000. So we were reluctant to go down that road again right now until we can figure something else out. In the world of police vehicles, there's not much to choose from right now. So the other best option, the one that other police departments were going to, is the Chevy Tahoe, and that is the information that is before you tonight. And again, it's a little bit bigger vehicle. It's not a hybrid. They don't offer it in a hybrid. There are some opportunities down the road that we're thinking that we can get a hybrid for some of the vehicles that we'll have in the future. But the reason that we've decided to make that switch is for the issues that we've been having with the Ford vehicles that we've been purchasing.
Any questions for Chief Jordan?
Just a quick one.
Oh.
Just for fact, state police have gone to Chevy Tahoes, correct?
That is the vehicle that they've gone to. They previously had been driving Dodge Chargers, and Dodge is no longer making police vehicles. So they've switched to all Tahoes.
Okay. Councilor Dornblow?
Answer my question.
Okay. Any other questions for Chief Jordan? Okay. Seeing none, is there any discussion from councilors on this resolution? Okay. Seeing none?
Not a discussion item, but just a comment. Seems unfortunate that there is so little competition in the market that essentially public services are forced into a certain brand, which is, as I said, unfortunate.
Okay, seeing no other comments, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Blaiswood?
Aye.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornblow?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstown?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. All right. And item number C is ordinance 2024-2025-32. This is the ordinance to amend Chapter 32 to establish a new zoning district called the Village Corridor District, create form-based code standards for the new district, remove redundant standards, and clarifying language, and update the zoning map. And we know you've spoken on this. Is there anything else you'd like to kind of apprise us of? Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you. At this time, I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I will make the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Dornblow. Is there anything else that you?
I have nothing further to say, but to answer your questions if you have any.
Okay. Are there any questions? Councilor Lamatina.
Valerie touched on it a bit, but I wonder if you could talk about what's the impact to property valuations and tax structures?
So proposed ordinances will improve the tax structure, I think the tax base, because it adds more value per square foot. So for, right now, you think about it, where this is being proposed, it already has existing utilities, so that doesn't have to be installed. The proposed language, from a dimensional standpoint, allows for more dwellings to exist than currently. So for instance, if you have 200, feet of frontage, that takes a lot more to maintain from a DPW standpoint financially than, say, 50 feet of frontage. Also, if you're repairing sidewalk and whatnot, if there's more buildings there, it means you get more value for your improvements. And then from a property standpoint, if you're adding more dwellings or commercial buildings, per acre, that's just going to increase the value of that land. That means more revenue for the town, but less footprint from a property tax standpoint.
Please.
Do you know how many, if any, buildings that exist currently won't meet I know they'll be allowed to exist as they are, but, how many of them will no longer meet the zoning of the new area?
We're actually bringing a lot of properties into conformity with these
Okay.
changes. So currently along North Main Street, that's in the B1 zoning district. All the residential dwelling units in that zone are non-conforming. They come into conformance with the proposed changes. And then your downtown area, so along Main Street, majority of those properties be bringing in conformity as well from a dimensional standpoint. So this is providing relief to property owners by bringing them into conformity, and that means less burden for them to make improvements, less, say, regulatory hurdles they need to go through in order to do what they want, expand or whatnot.
Will any be moved from conformity into non-conformity?
Not that I'm aware of, no. From a use standpoint, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions? Councilor Turnbull.
It's not really a question, if that's okay. Can we, yes, okay. I just wanted to voice my appreciation for the work that you've done to develop this language and to the planning board for the work that they've done in reviewing it and presenting this proposal to us. It's the first time I've ever encountered an ordinance like this, and I really appreciate the clarity of the language and my ability to understand what's being proposed. I'm particularly appreciative of the example drawings that illustrate the types of buildings that would be desirable and would be allowed under this change, and so I think that it's a very nicely, very well done work, and I obviously I'm endorsing our acceptance of the proposed language as submitted and to adopt this ordinance.
Any other questions or discussion? I had a couple of questions for folks who were not able to attend any of the visioning sessions. Can you give an example of the kind of development or some of the kinds of changes that people might expect to see once this is enacted? Like, we know we can't determine what people are going to want to do, but what are the kinds of things that we're trying to encourage?
The types of development patterns that we're encouraging is what you see in downtown. And so, for instance, along Main Street, minus the mill buildings, but you look at between the Willie House, the buildings, the Durgan block, and then the Mason building and whatnot, that kind of development. So what we're doing here with this zoning ordinance is we're regulating the amount of units that can be within a building. And what people have found value is those buildings that exist along Main Street. They like that. They like the character they have. The downtown around Exeter Road, if you go, before the railroad tracks, allowing for those type of buildings, allowing for them to exist still and maybe be converted into, say, maybe a single family going into a duplex without changing the shell or the facade of the building. So what we're trying to do with this is kind of mirror those buildings that are valued in town and expand it down Exeter Road and up North Main Street. And what we're also trying to do here is create a more vibrant community through development patterns. And I think this ordinance really has a good shot in doing that. And so we want mixed use in these areas. And for the past 30 years, just for reference, in the B1 North Main District, little has changed. The town has put a lot of effort in trying to figure out how to encourage development there, specifically from a commercial standpoint, and along Exeter Road as well. And nothing's working. So this is an opportunity, which was first identified in 2016, for us to see what people like and what could be built, which is not only economic for development, but also for the town in general. And one more thing I'd like to point out here, this proposed zoning change amendment it's geared for all. It's incremental. What we're trying to do here is not, we want to invite people in to do business and develop, but also we want existing property owners to age in place, to be able to add small scale density to their existing property, and without even maybe, demolishing or significantly modifying their existing homes. This achieves that. And it does it in a way where it's not overly burdensome. Because part of this whole exercise too is to encourage commercial development. But we also recognize the people who live there already, and we don't want to make them put commercial elements in there if they don't want to. So we did it in a way that sets the threshold reasonably if they want to add a few more units or not, without significantly developing the property, which could be financially burdensome. So I would say this is an ordinance for the community. And I think we did a good job trying to strike that balance.
Any other questions, comments, or discussion? Councilor Black?
As you know, I'm on the planning board, and I just wanted to assure people that these were very detailed discussions over a long period of time by some very technically competent people, and that this is a very well thought out, produced plan that I fully support.
Councilor Donovan?
Just one more comment. I really appreciate the emphasis in the proposed language on public spaces and the walkability of our town. That is something that I think people in town really value about the downtown space, the kind of the urban area of Newmarket, and to be able to expand that and to do it in a way that offers flexibility and opportunity to existing property owners, I think is a really smart move for us, because rather than relying on a developer to come in from the outside to develop something, which is obviously encouraged and wanted as the language expresses itself here as well, but it allows people who are here, us, to
new opportunities to develop our own properties to make them fit our lifestyles and any changes that we're experiencing by adding new dwelling units, increasing diversity of dwelling units, and by encouraging commercial activity along a stretch of road that is well developed from an infrastructure perspective. And so I think it will be it's a good move for us to make, and I think it will be beneficial for the town in the long run.
Have there been a lot of instances of people that have wanted to make changes to some of the buildings in the North Gateway area where they haven't been able to because of the existing regulations?
There is a property, he's here tonight, Nick, the vacant lot on North Main Street. So he came before the zoning board, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago, and he needed a significant amount of variances for his project. And ultimately, he withdrew his petition. In this scenario, if this were to be passed, his, based on my understanding what the project is, his permitting wouldn't need any variances at all. It would just need, so again, it's that type of development that we want, that infill development, that character development that matches the village pattern. As for small scale development, along North Main Street, nothing comes to mind, but to me that means, one, people have no interest, or just maybe it's too burdensome. I know there's been a couple before me that people have tried, and it's just nothing was able to get through. So I think this is what we're trying to do, is trying to offer a suite of options in order to actually get development.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll.
Council Blaisberg.
Aye.
Council Martina.
Aye.
Council Dornbus.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Donnelly.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. Thank you very much. And this evening we have one ordinance in the first reading, and that is Resolution 2025-2026-1. A resolution to authorize the town manager to amend an existing contract with Stratford Regional Planning Commission to update the town's master plan and appropriating up to $17,400 from the Master Plan Capital Reserve Fund for their services. Whereas Article 15 of the 2015 municipal election established a capital reserve fund pursuant to RSA Chapter 35 for the purpose of conducting the master plan, and whereas pursuant to RSA 36:49, a municipality is authorized to enter into contracts with regional planning commissions for the furnishing of funds or services in connection with the preparation of a comprehensive master plan and any special planning work to be done by the Regional Planning Commission. And whereas the Stratford Regional Planning Commission is currently under contract to assist the town of Newmarket to update its master plan. And whereas the town staff worked with Stratford Regional Planning Commission to develop a contract amendment scope of work and associated fee not to exceed $17,400, which will be paid for from the Master Plan Capital Reserve Fund in order to furnish the update to the master plan. Now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the council does approve the town manager to enter into a contract amendment with Stratford Regional Planning Commission to secure their services to assist the town in updating its master plan, and approves the expenditure of not more than $17,400 from the Master Plan Capital Reserve Fund for this purpose. Sponsored by Chair Conley by request, first reading June 18th, 2025. All right. That moves us on to our the next item on our agenda, which is new business and correspondence. Is there any correspondence to be read into the record this evening?
There is none.
Okay, then the next item is closing comments. Are there any closing comments by town councilors this evening? Councilor Glazebrook.
This Saturday, June 21st, the Art and Garden.
Councilor Glazebrook, your mic's off.
Oh, no, this one is fine. This Saturday, June 21st, the Art and Garden Tour will be happening all around town. There's going to be local art studios, there'll be gardens available, there's a reception. Please check out the more information on the Rex website. I hope to see you there.
Thank you very much. Any other closing comments? Councilor Blackstone.
I attended the Newmarket Business Association Meet the Owners at the Panzanella's, and it was interesting. The people that ended up buying Panzanella own a number of restaurants, including like Cooper Hill on Route 4. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And they took their best employee and they said, "How would you like to be a co-owner?" And so he's basically running the restaurant. And with the understanding that he's going to find a really hot person and start another restaurant, and then they will both be co-owners of it. So I thought it was a kind of a venture capital kind of thing. It was very nice.
Any other closing comments? Okay. June 25th, 2025, next Wednesday, is the Primex goal-setting session, and that will be at 6 p.m. Our next meeting is July 16th, 2025, and that will be at 7 p.m. So happy 4th, councilors. Enjoy that time. And if there are no objections, I will consider us adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.